went by to clean up what was left over, they filled 12 baskets.
Right.
Now, I wasn't there, but I've seen pictures, and the baskets they used in them days were not small baskets. So we're talking all of this was left over.
Amen.
Now, so imagine in your mind what Jesus just did. When He took and fed that many people with that little food. That was supernatural. That was beyond the possible.
Amen.
That's beyond anything we can possibly fathom.
That's right. That's right.
And I'll share a little experience I had. I was in where I first started out in church down in Georgia. There was a revival going on, and it was kind of common at the end that they would have a lot of food prepared and people would go eat. Well, it was one particular night, they had far more people than they expected. And I was talking to one of the workers in the back, and she said, you know, we really didn't prepare that much food. And she said, but I prayed. And, you know, everybody ate, and there was plenty left over. Jesus can perform the same miracles today that He did then.
That's right.
But I want you to keep in mind the supernatural that He performed, what He has done.
Amen.
All right, so let's get into the story. It's on Matthew chapter 14, verse 22, and it says, and straightway Jesus constrained His disciples to get into a ship and go before Him unto the other side while He sent the multitude away. So in other words, when He constrained them, He insisted that they go ahead and go, I'll take care of the people. You just go get to our next destination. And when He had sent the multitude away, He went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, He was there alone. Now, I don't know exactly what time that was, but typically evening is somewhere around 6 o'clock. Keep that in mind.
Amen.
But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, is between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Now, remember, He went up into the mountain to pray at roughly between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. He finished somewhere between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. So at the very least, we're talking 6 hours of prayer. Probably closer to what the outside number is, 12 hours. Because it says He went in the evening and then did depart to the fourth watch. So we're talking anywhere from 6 to 12 hours of prayer. And I think about us, and me included, find it difficult sometimes to spend 15 minutes in prayer, 30 minutes in prayer, an hour in prayer.
Amen.
You know, the church calls for prayer once a week for 1 hour. And some find that too much, find it difficult. But this isn't the only time this ever happened. This is Jesus' prayer life.
Right.
Jesus, the Son of God, laying before God for this amount of hours.
Amen.
Oh, the power we would have if we could do something even close to that.
Amen.
So anyway, it says, and in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. Walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw Him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. Now, you see, like I was telling you, they just witnessed the supernatural. They just witnessed Him feed 5,000 people. Probably 15,000 or more people on 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Now, I know that everybody in here knows something about food, enough about food to know that you cannot possibly feed that many people on that little.
Amen.
We can't even feed our own family on that small amount of food.
Right. Amen.
And here they are, that very night or the next morning, see him walking on the water and cannot believe this. They're incapable of comprehending that Jesus could be walking on the water, even though they just saw him perform the supernatural.
Amen. Come on now. Amen.
And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit," and they cried out for fear. They were afraid. They were scared of what they saw. And straightway Jesus spoke unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid." See, that's Jesus. Will calm our spirits no matter what we encounter.
Amen.
He will calm our spirit and give us peace.
That's right. Amen.
And now it goes on to say, "And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." Now see, Peter was a little bit of I'm not sure what word I want to use, but he was one of them, he was bold.
Right.
But it was also, okay, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come on out. We'll see if it's you. That's kind of how he got me sometimes when I read some of his comments. And he said, "Come," being Jesus, said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. Now, you see the power of Jesus. Not only could he walk on the water, but he could tell others to walk on the water.
Come on then.
That's right. That's right.
But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?" Now, I'm looking at this story and thinking about, what they must have felt like. It's easy for us to sit here and read the Bible and say, "Gee, I don't understand why he doubted." But really, think about it. If you were out on a boat, when's the last time anyone has walked on water or tried to walk on water? Because we fear that we cannot do it. So I'm looking at this boat and seeing this boat as kind of like this comfort zone. It's the known.
All right now.
And he's being asked to step into the unknown.
Come on now.
See, he's been in a ship before. He's seen ships float. He knows ships float. And he knows, and the people knew as long as they stayed in that ship, they were going to stay afloat. Much like we do with a chair. We just sit down. We trust it. We've sat in the chair before. We know what a chair is. We know that we can trust it. So Jesus tells him to come, and he has enough trust in Jesus that he just steps out. But he becomes distracted by what's going on around him. He sees the waves, he hears the wind, and he becomes afraid. Now, how did he see that wind, or hear that wind and see those waves? Because he took his eye off of Jesus and looked at what was going on around him.
Come on now.
Took his eye off of Jesus and started to notice, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not in the ship. I'm on the water. And the water is kicking up and the waves are kicking up. I'm going to die.
Come on now.
Jesus, save me.
Yes.
Come on now.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
So I take this And I'm trying to take my time here because
Take your
I
time.
Come
really
on.
want to get this point across.